It is insanely rare that a project I make comes out even better than I imagined. But when you're trying to bend light in creative ways, it's almost impossible to picture the final result. I wasn't even sure if my experimental techniques were gonna work, but the first time I plugged it in, I was blown away. The bright colors, the beautiful walnut, the tedious work of combining hundreds of pieces turned a basic symbol into something I didn't expect. And this video is brought to us by Squarespace. I'm gearing up for my first art show coming up in June, and hopefully this is one of the pieces that makes it in. My goal with this is to blur the lines between functional furniture and visual art. So today I am making a floor lamp that's meant to light up a room in two ways, both physically and metaphorically. A long time ago, I went to school for visual communication, so anytime I get to combine my love of woodworking, art, and graphic design, I get pretty excited. In the world of graphic design, symbols mean everything. They can say a lot without using any words. I sketch a lot in my notebooks, and one day I drew these arrows. I don't really remember why I was drawing arrows at the time, but I liked the way they interlocked and how they are all framed by one larger arrow. So here I am milling up some wood for the outside shape of this arrow. Now we're gonna start cutting out the pieces of the arrow, which means I need to start toting my blade. The first couple cuts are all going to be 45 degrees. So we're gonna glue up this part of the arrow for right now. That way we can cut all the other pieces to fit. We have a 45-degree miter, and we're gonna reinforce it later, but right now I just wanna get some glue on that end grain, because the end grain likes to soak up the glue, and I'm gonna let that sit and dry for a couple of minutes. Then we're gonna come back and glue it. So now that the glue is dry, I'm gonna put another layer of glue, and it's not going to soak into all of the end grain. I'm gonna be a little bit more effective. All right, and now we can let that dry. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
I just realized I fucked up big time. This 45 right here is supposed to go the other way.
So far, so good.
So this is no good. These two pieces, no good. Damn it, son of a bitch. So we're gonna mill up another board. That is how you recover from an almost near disaster. If I would have not caught that until after the glue up, it wouldn't have been that bad. But in my head, total disaster. Everything was ruined. I almost sent Daniel home for the day. All right, so while that is drying, I can move on to cutting the next two pieces. And then this is a weird angle at 43.17. which my blade doesn't go that far, so shit, how do I do that? So that means we have to go to 46.82. 46.8 will be good enough. Then we gotta bring our fence in and a sled. I think we do one of these numbers. So to make this work, I have that opposite angle. Complementary, supplementary, it always confuses me. I've got my board upright with this sled on my fence that I can now cut this out. Whew! I shut my saw off before the end of the cut so this piece doesn't get pinched in there and shoot back and hit me in the crotch. I've learned my lesson. So now to complete the arrow, we're just gonna glue this on top of this. This isn't very strong. If this just fell to the floor, it would probably break. Probably not, but it could break. So we're going to reinforce all of those joints. So now these corner pieces are going to go in here like this because they were cut from the same board and all the grain is going in the same direction. It's all going to expand and contract together. We're just going to add a lot more glue surface. Also inset, which is going to help us out later with the front and back panels. So now the front panel is going to be made out of walnut plywood. Unfortunately, the walnut plywood that I do have is not big enough, so we're going to make our own. I am going to veneer some 1/8 inch plywood. You're supposed to veneer both sides of the plywood so it doesn't potato chip on you, but I'm just going to veneer one side and see what happens. Put this into the vacuum bag, throw that on there, and then watch the magic happen. It has been an hour, so we can pull this out of the bag and see if it worked. Which it did not. We are good. So if this is going to be the front, that means we flip this over and then we can trace out this arrow on the inside and cut that out. So this now fits right in there, snugly, I should say. And look at that. We have places to attach that front on the corners there, but I want to add some more strips. Since we're going to add a light inside, if I did this right now, that light is going to leak out from the edges where I don't want it to leak out. We're going to create another spot for the light to leak out where we want it to leak out. We're just going to use some CA glue to glue these in. There we go. Now we got a lip all along the inside. That'll prevent any light leaks. So now we get to start having fun and do the artsy part of this project. I drew up this arrow pattern in Adobe Illustrator. I like how they all kind of interlock with each other, and we're going to cut those arrows out onto this arrow that we made. And to do that, we're going to use the X Tool P3, and this was really cool. So I'm going to set this in here. It's going to take a photo of that. I can then close the lid. So then in X Tool Studio, it's going to show me the bed of the laser. I can import my artwork here, and I can visually line up exactly where this is going to cut. And I'm thinking that is looking good right about there. This is one of those moments where having a CO2 laser really matters. I've used diode lasers in the past, and they're great for thin wood, but they would really struggle here with this veneered plywood. And diodes can't cut clear acrylic at all, which we're going to be doing shortly. The X Tool P3 can, and it opens up a whole different category of materials. And at 80 watts, it can also cut some pretty thick wood. I actually made this entire chair using only this machine. And with the pass-through conveyor option, you can work with material that's bigger than the bed itself, which is why that massive laser that used to take up way too much room in the corner of my shop is now gone. That's satisfying, watching them all drop out of there. Look at that. Ooh, this is gonna look so cool. Oh man, I love it. I ordered some acrylic from X Tool. My design uses 3 different colors, so I'm going to pick out which 3 colors that I want. Now we are going to take our red acrylic and throw it in the X Tool P3. It shows me the bed of the machine. I brought in my artwork. I can go into my materials here, choose red acrylic. It already sets the machine up for me. Couldn't be any easier. And I hit process,
and we are ready to go.
And this is where it starts to get a little experimental. The arrows are not going to be inlaid, but sit on the back. So they need to be bigger than the cutouts. So in Illustrator, I went in and drew by hand all the bigger arrows and then combined the neighboring ones just to reduce the amount of pieces that I'm gonna have to work with later.
All right, that is the first one. The hard part of this entire project is coming up because there are so many little pieces that I gotta put together. Next up is the yellow. Place it in there, takes a photo, and we're good to go. And that should do it. I don't have a good plan on how to attach this all together yet, but for now, I'm just gonna try to piece this all together. This is difficult because there's like a couple hundred pieces. So we'll start with the biggest pieces to make this easier. So we're just gonna tape them together for right now. So I have this all taped together. I don't have a really good plan, and I'm kind of worried this isn't going to work. I tried using some acrylic cement on a couple of test pieces to put it together, but it's not working the way I thought. Typically, you do not use CA glue with acrylic because you get this white filmy stuff, but I think if I coat this whole thing with masking tape, flip it over, and then just a little bit of glue in the seams, I think I'll be okay. Hopefully, I didn't ruin everything that I just cut out. So let's give this a shot here. This tape is not very user-friendly. I've never used this before. I think I've had it for years. I think that is gonna work. So, in theory, if I take my tape off, it should still look good on this side. Which it does. All right. Yes, success. Now that the acrylic is done, we're going to attach the wood face to that. It looks so freaking good. Like, this is way better than what it looked like when I was drawing it up on the computer. It's way better than I imagined. It looks so freaking good. But I just realized I can't glue this to this because I need to get some finish on this first. That lacquer has dried. That's my favorite thing about lacquer, is it dries so fast, but it smells so bad. I don't know why. I gotta flip it because it makes me feel good. But we gotta line this up without spreading glue all over the place. You only get one shot. This is our M&M. On the back side, we're gonna have some frosted acrylic. And I don't have any acrylic big enough, so we're gonna use 2 sheets and combine them. So I'm gonna set that there. I'm gonna set this on top, and then we're gonna draw out our shape. The back side, I didn't have any acrylic big enough, so we're gonna glue these 2 pieces together. And there's gonna be a seam, but that is not gonna matter. I have an LED light strip that I'm going to use to light both sides of the arrow, and I don't really have this planned out. My first thought is to make another arrow inset that's smaller that this can just wrap around, and I won't have to do any soldering or any kind of messy electrical stuff. I don't know how that's going to fit in there, but let's work on one problem at a time. A problem I have to solve is if I wrap the lights around this arrow that I just cut, how does that attach inside? My first thought is to take some of our scrap walnut, cut a little groove in there that this falls onto, and then this piece can be glued into this piece. So this middle insert, we're going to wrap with aluminum tape for two reasons. One is the aluminum is going to distribute the heat from the LEDs. You're not really supposed to attach LEDs right to wood, although I don't think they don't create that much heat, but I'm a rule following rebel. And two, I almost forgot two, the reflectiveness of the aluminum tape is going to help distribute, diffuse, reflect the light. All right. It's gonna be messy on the inside, but we're all messy on the inside. I am going to glue this in with CA glue. With those in there, I can take this and it just drops into the groove. And it also means that this is repairable if I need to open it up and take it out. Ah, that's freaking bright. I drilled two holes, one that is going to hold the screw and a bigger one on top of that that's going to hold the nut. In theory, if I pound the nut in there, careful, those just kind of friction fit in there. I'll add a little bit of glue, put on the front panel, which already has the holes drilled out, and screw this down. The panel is removable. The sign is serviceable. And everybody wins. So to make the metal base plate and the metal top plate, I could cut it by hand, or I could have a machine do it. We got the base on, and now we got to weld down that top piece. Daniel is just like, don't forget, you got to drill a hole in the bottom for the wire to come through. And I'm like, I should have put that in the file. Also, the bolt holes that are going to go on here also should have been in the file, but we'll make it work. We'll do it the hard way, by hand. And while we're doing that, let me tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Squarespace. It is 2026. This is my first video of 2026, and some of you may not have a website. If you're a maker, a creator, an artist, maybe you're looking for clients, maybe you just want to show off your stuff, Squarespace is the perfect place to do so. You might be thinking, I don't need Squarespace because I have social media. You don't own that social media. The social media companies own your social media. Whether you just want to have a portfolio of your work or you want to sell stuff like I do, I sell PDF plans as well as physical items. You can do that with Squarespace. It has always been easy to set up a Squarespace site, but it has never been easier. All you got to do is you answer a few questions, and while you're answering those questions, Squarespace is going to build your website for you in the background. And by the time you are done, Squarespace is going to spit out your site, and it's all going to be navigatable, ready to use. All you got to do is you go and replace that dummy copy and photos with your copy and photos. It is that easy. With Squarespace, you can have a calendar. So if you need to book time with people, you can do that. You can host your podcast with Squarespace, plus a whole lot more. So visit squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, visit squarespace.com/makesomething to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. All right, back to the project. I cannot express how excited I am with how this is coming out. It's not often that a project comes out better than I expected, but this one totally did. It's really hard to imagine, like when you're working with light, what it's actually going to look like, but the color scheme with the red, orange, and yellow with the dark walnut just works so well. I also just happen to love that color scheme, but the light coming out of the back that hits the wall creates this beautiful silhouette that highlights the piece when you walk into the room. I like a lot of my projects, but I really, really love this one. It came out so good. It looks amazing in person. June 20th and June 27th here in Toledo, Ohio will be my first ever art show. This is something that I've wanted to do nearly all of my life, and it is finally happening. I'm going to pick my best art pieces for the show, and I'm pretty sure this one is going to make the cut. If you are new here and you like this video, I am pretty darn sure you're going to absolutely love this video where I make another backlit sign inspired by the 60s and 70s beer sign. I even took the photo of the waterfall on film, developed it, did the whole thing. It came out absolutely amazing. That is also another piece that's going to be in my upcoming art show. Be safe, have fun, stay passionate, and unsubscribe from the noise.